But I'm going live again. Alright. Maybe this one will work. Let me know if you all can hear me this time. I am trying my best to see if this is going to work this time. Alright. Let's see. I think it's going to work. Alright. So, this quick commercial break is brought to you by Right Task, Wrong Woman. Right Task, Wrong Woman by yours truly, Reginald Beasley. I am the author, Subzero501. I'm definitely I'm excited about what's coming up. I got a lot of things in the pipeline, and I definitely don't want you to miss out. So please, make sure that you write in the comments. Let me know if you have any ideas on some different type of topics that you want me to talk about, or if there are some different trends or trending things that you might want to later on put into the actual chat. Just write and let me know what you think. Alright, so back to what I was saying before. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm not sure if you can hear my voice that good. If you can, please let me know. And write down in the comments below. I just got through writing and trying to see if you can hear me. If you can, please let me know. Good. Thank you for letting me know. So, what is your definition of beauty? Fine, sexy, hot, all the things that we use to kind of, I guess you could say, categorize individuals in our lives that we come in contact with. A lot of us are in relationships, so we don't look at people in that aspect anymore. Or a lot of us that are single, that are not in relationships, we use these terminologies so that individuals will be able to, I guess you say, understand exactly what we are talking about when we are making reference to other individuals. So, that being the case, when you hear the term hot, when you hear the term sexy, when you hear the term beautiful, when you hear the term fine, the first thing that pops into mind is what? You see, my definition of fine, and I'm talking about 9s and 10s. And the reason that I'm touching on these numbers is because usually when you're talking about someone that's fine, you're talking about in the top echelons of I guess you would say, our society. It's the top the top percentage of individuals that you will run across when it comes down to beauty. So, that being the case, what do you consider your definition of fine? Fine is a 9 or 10. However, I'm not only depicting, when I say someone is fine, I'm not only going to be making reference to someone that is just beautiful outwardly. Someone that gains the title of being fine to someone has, or to me, has to have the inward and the outward. And the truth be told, to a lot of men, you don't even have to have all of the outward to be fine. If you display a lot of your inward, what skills you have, what humble traits you have, what, you know, those characteristics that people normally don't run into, when you have those type of I guess you could say characteristics to offer people, and people see those type of characteristics, like say that you're a caretaker, you're a loving person, you take great care of your home, you care for others, or you know how to cater to people. Those are traits and those are attributes that add to the value that a man sees in you. So when you hear the term fine and a man is looking at a woman being fine, he typically isn't just looking at just the outward appearance. Now, don't get me wrong, Under a lot of circumstances, men say a woman is fine, he is talking about her outward appearance. However, we're talking about once we've had time to see a woman, experience a woman, see what her behaviors and things are, then we can elevate whether that beauty is only on the outside, and then we can relevate whether it's just the beauty on the outside or if it's beauty on the outside and the inside. What's rare is finding beauty on the outside and the inside. It's common to find beautiful people on the inside, but it's hard to find beautiful people on the inside as well as the outside. When it comes down to beauty, or should I say handsomeness, for a woman seeing a man being handsome, I've talked to several women, and a lot of women, typically what they say is they don't judge a book by its cover. They never look at a person individually just by what they wear or just by what they look like. The women that I've always talked to said that they look at more than just the outward appearance and what they are carrying in the moment, in the present. So that being the case, a lot of the value that women look at in men goes far beyond our superstitious views of what we see women holding value in men is. I've talked to women that said that they see women, they see men, and the first thing that they pay attention to is, first off, his potential. How intellectually sound is he? Is he abusive with his words? Is he kind? Is he caring? Is he loving? Is he patient? Is he considerate? Does he have hope in things, or is he always a downer? Does he have habits? Does he have traits? Does he have tendencies? And I've heard of women say they pay attention to all these things before they double back to the looks. So the initial catch of the eye, of course, always play a huge factor. But after that initial catch of the eye, there's always questions that follow. So women, they critique, and I think that they I guess you could say, women, they take better precautions than men. And the reason I say it is because when a woman step into a relationship, they have motives to be in a relationship typically for a long period of time. And they're looking for more than what men are looking for typically when they get into relationships. And you know that we are always taught that women, of course, mature a lot faster than men as well. And I think that also plays a factor into it as well. So it's kind of intriguing how we see women and how they evaluate being in a relationship with a man compared to how a man evaluate being in a relationship with a woman. In our modern day society, a lot of women, honestly, they didn't learn a lot of things from their mother or their grandmother. So there's a lot of missing areas here and there. We talk about people that know how to cook. We talk about individuals that know how to do things like stitch and do basically basic household chores like washing clothes and doing laundry and cooking, cleaning, not being on the TV and on the couch all day, scrolling on your phone, but actually doing things that are more valuable, such as teaching the children certain things that need to be taught that they aren't learning at school, being active with them, being in their lives when it comes down to extracurricular activities, football season, soccer season, volleyball season, and all those things play factors. Every last bit of it plays factors. And realistically, we all gotta understand that our society we live in has provided for so much for us to basically partake in. We have to learn how to evolve along with the society that we're in. And if we're not gonna evolve, not just based off of like relationships and the things that we experience dealing with relationships, but if we're not going to evolve in totality of our lives, then we're honestly set for failure. We're bound for failure, especially if we're not looking for growth. So when we look at the superficial definitions, and we look at how we as individuals look at being in relationship with people, I want to look at it in this aspect as well. What does the society say is beautiful when it comes down to women nowadays? It's pretty crazy how we see so many. It's pretty crazy how we see so many women and men. I guess you say women wearing the same hairstyles. They are wearing the same clothes, the same type of clothes, eyelashes, same heels, shoes. I mean, all these type of things, and we see the same across the board dealing with men as well. And men are trying to be in competition with each other, buying chains and jewelry and clothes and watches and brand new J's, and keeping up with the Joneses, buying brand new cars and different things of that nature. When it comes down to having value and holding value in yourself, the reality is, what do you hold value? Because if we're looking at looks and we're looking at being a certain status or trying to portray being a certain thing in order to catch the opinion and the attraction of others, then honestly, realistically, we have to have a default on what we define as pretty, beautiful, fine, and sexy. Because if everybody has the ability to be pretty, beautiful, fine, and sexy, hot and sexy, or whatever the case may be, why aren't we striving for that? Why aren't we pushing for that? If there is a society norm that we should be trying to accomplish, then why aren't we doing it? I think the reason we're not doing it is because there isn't a society norm. And I think that a lot of the public is trying to make it seem as if this is what we consider being beautiful, this is what we consider being right, this is what we consider being the way you should look, and we're going to advertise this to you to make you feel as if you're inadequate if you're not this. And the reality is, that's how a lot of the people that we see in this world are acting right now. And it's not cool. I don't want you to ever feel that you're inadequate. But I do want you to take a look at your life and take a look at yourself and have realistic measures for yourself. Isn't it ironic that we see so many people that are delusional out here and that believe, and they try their best to accomplish things that are outside of their I can't say their desires, because people always desire things, but they put inside of their hearts and their minds things that aren't even on the path. That's what I want to say. That aren't even on the path that they're following. Not even on the path that they're on. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of us that set goals and objectives, right? And we set those big goals and objectives for ourselves because we want to make sure that anyone, or not anyone, but we want to make sure that we have something to try to push forward to accomplish. And let's look at it when it comes down to relationships. Say you see a guy, right? And on a scale from 1 to 10, women will say he's a 4, right? And because he's a 4, he's trying to, basically the women will say he needs to stay in his frame of dating. Like, stay within his dating pool, right? And then you see a woman that is, to a man, she's a 3 or a 4. But to her, she elevated herself to believe she's a 9 or a 10. Is it just because she elevated herself to be a 9 or 10 that classifies her as a 9 or 10? That's the point that I want to make. There has to be a default, because either we have a default or everyone fits into every category. And I'm sorry to bust others' bubbles, but not everyone is fine. And not everyone is pretty, not everyone is cute, not everyone is ugly. Not everyone is nasty, not everyone is cool, not everyone is sweet, not everyone is mean, not everyone is sour. So there's a variety, but there should be a default in what we understand to be fine, beautiful, sexy, and hot. So if you can, write down below and tell me what your definition of hot, sexy, fine, or beautiful is. Now, I want to go to fine. First off, fine is 9, 10. Beautiful, 6 to 8. Now, a lot of people, oh my God, hold on. Someone just said this, and I like how she brought this up, because realistically, I hear this all the time. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's that ironic. Now, I wonder if it was someone that was ugly that said that, because realistically, all people everywhere have some type of judgmental bone in their body. And we can say, okay, that's ugly, that's cute, that's pretty. And if the person that we're with at the time agrees with us, then we have a mutual understanding. So say you're with someone and someone else calls someone else ugly, right? And you like, oh, that person is ugly. Or say they were talking about the outward appearance. We know ugly is really representing the character of a person. We can go into the details and all that. But say we're just talking about the exterior point of the person. So looking at just their outward appearance. When we look at a person being ugly. Okay, so we all have a default on what we would consider being pretty or ugly. So if you came to an agreement that a person is ugly, then we would deem that person to be typically from 5 and below, right? So if there is a common area where we consider, okay, this would be neutral, ugly, neutral, which is to be an area, and then pretty, fine. Like, if we were to have it so that we can gauge it, how would we be able to, I guess you could say, gauge everyone without being personally involved in judging a person, per se? Because realistically, we have to come to a point to where we can correct those that are around us. And this is where I'm going. This is honestly where I'm going. We want to be able to correct the people that are around us. And the reason being is because there are a lot of people trying to be things that they're not. Just being honest. And because there are a lot of people trying to do things and be things that they're not, I think that it's only right for us as a people to be there to be able to correct and help people understand that they should not be or portray to be things that they're not. Or they should not judge or point the picture or point the finger or dictate what a person so-called is. You know what I'm saying? When that's not what they are. For instance, gaslighting. Do any of y'all know what gaslighting is? If you're watching, I want you to put in the comments what you think or what do you believe gaslighting is. Gaslighting. I give you 10 seconds. Gaslighting. So, a lot of people, and this is the reason why I'm using this terminology, a lot of people are getting gaslighted to believe that they are something that they're not. And this is the definition of gaslighting. Manipulate. It is to manipulate someone using psychological methods into questioning their own sanity or powers of reasoning. manipulate someone using psychological methods into questioning their own sanity or powers of reasoning. And if you have friends, I'm gonna put it like this. If you have friends and your friends are hyping your head up to make you believe something that you know you ain't, that's gaslighting you. And it don't even have to be friends. People that you know, your co-workers, people that you bump into on the regular. Say you go to the grocery store all the time, and then you know that one person that got that little bit of attraction to you, and they've been watching you every time you go in the Kroger's, go down that frozen food aisle, and every time they walk by, hey girl, you look beautiful every time I see you. And it's ironic how you would take those simple moments and you would try to make it seem like it's something that it ain't. Girl, he was all up on me. I had to tell that old man, keep moving. And you know, it's typically we get into those positions and we get to believe in those type of things because we don't have honest friends around us. We don't have honest people around us. And people get gaslighted, which is basically lying. They get lied to all the time, and it makes them believe things that they're not. I want you to believe this. I want you to understand this. I don't want anyone that listens to my podcast or my broadcast to believe anything outside of the normalities of who you are and what you are. I want you to believe what you know. When you look yourself in the mirror and when you see yourself face to face and you look yourself in the eyes, I want you to recognize you for who you are. Now, I want to throw a nugget on there. Because a lot of guys, we gaslight each other to make each other feel better. And we need to quit doing this too, because we gaslight each other to make each other feel better, but in reality we do it when it's basically provoking and benefiting bad behavior. And the reason I say that is because typically when someone's getting gaslighted, is lies involved, is manipulation involved, and someone's going to end up getting their feelings hurt and they're heartbroken, all because someone around them isn't telling the truth. When it comes down to the actual beauty of a person, the definitions of what a beauty and sexy is, we have to understand what it is in a default way, where we can understand where we lie on that mark. Now, where do I lie? I'm going to be honest with myself. When it comes down to being sexy, I'm far from it right now. I know that I have the capabilities of getting where I need to be, and that's something that I'm working on. But realistically, we all have to look at what we're doing personally to benefit ourselves going towards what we desire. Now, when it comes down to being fine or handsome or whatever the case may be, I honestly, because I never look at myself in that aspect, I let that be judged by others that are around me instead of me judging myself. But one thing that I've learned as a man is that I don't care what other people think about me. The only thing that really matters is what I think about myself. And it's hard for people to think positive about themselves if they don't have other people to help them do that. So I want to encourage you to start thinking positive about yourself for yourself, because you are important to yourself. Not only to yourself, you're important to me. You're important to everyone else that you're around, everyone that's in your life. And I want you to really remember that. Now, I also want to touch on this. What classifies a man to be a 9 or a 10? Fine. In a level of fine. I'm talking about so fine. Women be like, ooh, fanning themselves and all that stuff. I'm going to tell you what it does. and I'm gonna tell this for all the men out there that might watch the show and get a chance to actually see. And then I'm gonna talk about what classifies the women to be 9. I kind of touched on it earlier, but I want to touch on it just a little bit more once again. For a man to be a 9 or 10, first and foremost, he must have goals, ambitions, morals, humility, modesty. Those are just a handful of those things. After he has those things, he must have a means of getting his body together, meaning he must be fit. He must be striving for some type of healthy living, healthy lifestyle. And then he must also have a means to make money, or be developing means to make money. This is important, because even though a man can make $1 million today, if he stopped doing everything tomorrow and stop pursuing anything tomorrow, that man will basically stop growing, and not long after that, he just becomes a shadow, basically a thought of the past. As men in our modern society, we have to understand that the more we grow, the more value we obtain. And as society continues to evolve, we have to grow to keep up with the evolving society. And because we're not growing under those circumstances, we're not evolving. And because we're not evolving, we're not getting ready for the next phase of existence, I guess you say, in our lives, or whatever the case may be. Because at the end of the day, from what I've seen, just being honest, from what I've seen, anytime that a man slows down in life and stops doing different things, everything pretty much stops. And everything pretty much, hold on 1 minute, I'm having some technical difficulties. Let's see. Okay, there you go. Sorry about that. So, we go back to the topic. What classifies? Okay, so I ran across what classifies a man to be fine, a 9 or 10. So, in order to put a cap on that, to put a nugget on that, for all the men out there, if you are striving to be the best you could possibly be, first thing you got to do is get fit. Second thing, have goals and ambitions. And I'm not talking about working at no McDonald's, being a manager, and trying to build it up to where you can own your own store. That's cool and all, but if you ain't got the education, or pursuing the education to get that done, or if your dreams aren't bigger than trying to own something, trying to produce something, trying to make something, then you need to rebuild your perspective. Men are made to create, build, grow, and evolve. If you're not trying to contribute to that, you're not trying to contribute to your future being bright and prosperous. Now, let's switch over to the women. What classifies a woman to be a 9 or a 10? Ooh, this is going to be a juicy one, because a lot of women right now that's paying attention to this actual broadcast right now, or you might be watching it from later, later on you just saw it and you wanted to pop in and see what was being talked about. What classifies a woman to be a 9 or a 10? I'm about to tell you right now. But first, I want to offer you need to get to know, you need to get this book right here, Right Task, Wrong Woman. You need to get Right Task, Wrong Woman. It is my first book. I am a published author. My name is Reginald Beasley. If this is your first time watching, definitely want you to come in, check it out, and see what is talked about in this book. It is life-changing. Want to know why? Because every time you see a question mark, that question is typically asked for either you, or it's asked inside the book when it's pertaining to a scenario or a situation in which I was faced with in real life, and then I ended up being able to talk about it today in here in this book, Right Task, Wrong Woman. And it is helping not only me, but others that have read it and the others that are reading it be able to have a better perspective, especially an empathetic perspective when it comes down to approaching communication and relationships, and finding the right person based off the right task, and they can find the right woman. So, just throwing that in there. You can get this book signed by me in person for $20. That's right, a signed author copy of the book for $20. You just write inside the comments or email me or message me below and just let me know, and I definitely reach out to you and try to see if I can get this book to you as soon as possible. But to top off the food for thought this afternoon, the last question is, what classifies a woman to be a 9 or 10, to be fine on the Richter scale? What classifies a woman to be that chick? You know what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about no sexy red. Sexy red is nowhere near 9 or 10. And I ain't talking about no Beyonce either, because Beyonce, truth be told, is not a 9 or a 10. I know, right? I know y'all like, that's crazy. He done lost his mind. Beyonce is a 9 or a 10. No, she's not. Beyonce is probably like 8, 8.5. Y'all asking, what am I? You like, what did he? I'm a 5.5, 6. Maybe a 5, a 6.5, 7 on a good day, especially if I jump clean, and then if I get this belly off, I'd be a 7.5, 8. Don't get it twisted. But we talking about Beyonce. Beyonce is an 8, 8.5. Kelly Rowland is an 8.59. You talking about Christina Milian in our prime was a 9, a 9.5. So there are a lot of women that are out there that are beautiful, that aren't measured on the scale of which we see our regular society. However, that's talking about outward appearance. When we're talking about being possibly in a relationship, we're talking about actually being possibly with someone, what do we measure, or should I say, how do we measure a 9 or a 10 when it comes down to a beautiful woman? First and foremost, the one thing that we look at is authenticity. Number one, authenticity and modesty. Those are nuggets, and I want you to understand why they're nuggets. Authenticity. If a woman can be beautiful without makeup, if a woman can be beautiful without the lashes, if a woman can be beautiful without the hair laid down all the way down to her butt, without all the extra things here and there, if a woman can be beautiful without that authenticity, that automatically separates her from the rest of the world. And then once you have that type, you have that measurement of that authenticity, and then you take it even a step further. It goes from authenticity to modesty. The modesty behind a woman, and how she keeps herself. She isn't portraying herself to attract and be attractive to every other man that she sees or that she runs into. That type of modesty adds to that as well. And then we look at overall attraction. We look at the body of the woman, how she carries herself, not only with the modesty, but how she keeps herself. How healthy is she? Is her body out of shape? Is she overweight, or is she fine? Is she snatchy? Is she too skinny? She look like sticks and bones, or do she look like is she plump? Is she thick? Is she fine? Is she sick? I mean, there's a lot of factors that play into it, but I'm gonna tell you one of the key factors that men look at when it comes down to communication, and when it comes down to evaluating the deep mental intricacies in a relationship. We look for humility. If a woman is humility, and if a woman is humble, she has humility, that is a plus. But it is not a bigger plus than selflessness. Selflessness. You can win just about any man's heart with selflessness. And this is why a lot of these women, and I'm going to tell y'all a nugget, I'm going to tell you a nugget that you never thought of before. But this is why a lot of these women that get out here and they be promiscuous, and then they got 40, 50, 60, 80, 90, 150, 190 bodies, and then they get with the man that was looking for a high quality woman, and they cater to everything that he wants because they knew how to attune to that nature, that part of what that man needed. You know, that selflessness. Oh, he want $1,000. I'm gonna give him all of it. And now I'm not telling you go out and be no fool. Don't be no fool. But what I'm saying is, this is what a lot of women are actually doing to win over a man's heart. They understand that they have to be selfless. They understand they have to bring humility, and then they understand that they have to be modest. And you know, each of those play a huge factor, especially when it comes down to a good, genuine man that is looking for someone that he wants to marry and be in a long-term relationship with. So when you get an understanding of these particular pieces being the foundations of what a lot of good men are looking for, and you start to portray these characteristics, everything else will follow. And it's remarkable. I say that because I know for a fact that a lot of guys strictly only talk to a woman based off of modesty. I know guys that only dated a woman because they showed selflessness. I know a man that married a woman. I know a couple of guys that married a woman only because she was selfless. Like, strictly, that was it. She wasn't that beautiful. She didn't have the best body. She had enough body, but she was selfless in everything that she did pertaining to that man. And that is extremely important. No man wants to get with an aggressive woman, an angry woman, a toxic woman, or a selfish woman. Because you got to understand something. When that man commits to you and marry you, he plans. This is good men. Most good men. I ain't talking about no heathen, no scrubs out there. I'm talking about good men. That man intends on taking care of you for the rest of your life. And he intends on doing that the way that he knows how. Some of us know how to care for people bedside. Some of us only know how to bring a cup of coffee. Some of us don't even know how to do that. Only thing they know how to do is tuck you in the bed. I mean, but that's what they intend on doing for the rest of their life under most circumstances. So you got to understand, never pick a relationship for a temporary thing. Always pick it for the long run. Because the long run is when you really see the values and the true values that a person truly hold within themselves, especially pertaining to you. Now, I love the fact that this food for thought was touching on such a juicy topic. I had a comment in the comment section and said, "What about how a man presents himself?" I talked about how a man presents himself. Under most circumstances, a man presents himself in a relationship. We're talking about a good man. So let's say you met a guy or you met a man, a good man, at the store, and y'all exchange numbers, and then y'all start talking. Typically, he's gonna try to figure out what type of life, what type of world you have. And usually when we're in discovery mode to figure out whether this woman can fit into our lifestyle or whatever the case may be, we will adjust how we approach the situations based off of what type of approach she kind of wants. But let's go for a default. I'm gonna try to push for a default means in which how a man's characteristics is supposed to be when it comes down to approaching a woman. Well, first and foremost, you want a man to have, number one, confidence. If that man don't have confidence, then it's either one of two things. He was intimidated before you, or he's intimidated by you. And you never want to date or talk to a timid man. Most timid men, they keep secrets, and they're not going to be open with you. They're not going to relay the issues that you desire for them to talk about, because typically the things that they're hiding is either an embarrassment, or they feel like it's too much for you to handle, or it's something that you can't help with. So you never want to approach a timid man. So you want to make sure that man have confidence. You also want that man to have a sense of humility. Not humility as a sense of I'm humble because of I'm here with you, a woman. No, humility as in I know where I came from, I know where I'm going, I know I'm still not there yet. And I'm not gonna try to be something that I'm not. You get what I'm saying? Like trying to be fake, trying to act like you got the bling, and you know what I'm saying? You got the gold chains, you got the green, you're like, hey, you know what I'm saying? You trying to show like you the truth. Nah, that's not what's up. We need to be showing humility at the forefront so that you know that he's an authentic individual as you're dealing with him. He also needs to show a willingness to give and care. And what I mean by that is this. Okay, so say you're walking down the street and you're downtown, and a lot of guys don't know, but they're supposed to walk in between the street and the woman. Well, if he's not doing something like that, or if he, or say he's not doing something like that, will he grab your hand and hold your hand as you're walking? And will he pull you to the side or kind of direct which direction you're going on? Or try to show you compassion as you're walking and as you're traveling down the street or whatever the case may be. Like, you want to see certain things, like do he touch you softly, or do he grab your arm? Excuse me. Do he get aggressive? Do he push you when you're walking by? Do he kind of like nudge you out the way, or do he kind of carefully walk you into the doorway? Do he hold the door open for you? Do he open the door for you as you get into the car, or do he be like, "Girl, get in that car and be quiet"? You know what I'm saying? Those are the type of characteristics and the type of things that you want to see if that man will do for you, or if he does do for you. And that'll kind of show whether that man is going to be the caring type, the one that actually looks out for you and loves on you the way that you need to be loved. Especially most women are emotional creatures. They're going to be looking for that empathetic type of emotional connection. And then one of the last things that you want to look for, you don't want to look superficial, and you don't want to look as if you're basing everything off of physical attributes and physical things such as clothes and all of those type of things. But you do want your man to have some type of swag, some type of something about himself. So when it comes down to clothes, if he don't have the shoes, he don't have the shirts, he don't have the pants, what type of car he drive? If he don't have the car, what type of mind do he have? If you don't have the mind, then what type of food do he have? Because you gotta be there for something, right? Shoot, I mean, I don't know what to tell you after that. But you want it to be at least desirable, semi-desirable, or okay. Because if it's okay, that means you can fix it. If it's semi-desirable, that means you can fix it. If it's not something that you can work with, I mean, you have to gauge it, you have to pick it. Excuse me. So, those are just a couple of things that you should consider when it comes down to a man and deciding whether you want to talk to that man in a relationship. Because truth be told, everyone deserves love. Everybody deserves love. So, that being the case, my question to you is, have you found love? If you haven't, right task, wrong woman. Check out this book. Let me know what you all think. My time is spent here. I was having technical difficulties dealing with everything earlier. I ended up getting a brand new sound pad, which is really helping out quite a bit. I love it. I'm gonna learn how to work this thing and really be able to figure out what's what. As you can see, I've been working on getting my cameras to where I can switch my camera views and everything in between my transitions and talk points, which is gonna be awesome. As I get this studio set up and get everything done, I'm just getting more and more excited. I just know that great things are gonna happen. I just know great things are gonna happen. If you would please show me some love, like, share, comment down below on any type of topic that you want me to talk about later on next week. Also, I'm going to be revamping what I'm going to be producing throughout the week. On Mondays, we're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about sports. We're going to talk about anything under the sun. On Fridays, we're going to be talking about food for thoughts from Right Task, Wrong Woman, and we're going to be talking about relationship issues. And then on Wednesdays, you're going to be receiving my 15-minute podcast. That's right, only 15 minutes. So as you're going to Walmart, or say you go to the grocery store, say you go right up the street, and you just got a couple of minutes, you can press play and just listen to the topics. Just listen to the topics and tell me what you think. Because honestly, these topics are juicy, y'all. And they are exciting too, because everywhere in the world, all across the United States, everyone wants to know the answer. What is the truth when it comes down to relationships? I've been married twice, and I'm not saying both marriages were cupcakes and rainbows. They weren't, but I'm not saying they were both bad either, because they weren't. But from my experience being married for almost 15 years in 2 marriages, 7 years in both, and my experience dating on the public market, never dated before. I was fresh out of high school. Right after high school, I got married. I experienced what it was like to go out there and start taking care of other people. So when I got out here into the single world and I had to start experiencing life for myself and on my own, that's when I decided I'm going to write a book. Right Task, Wrong Woman. In this book, I have scenarios that took place from my previous marriage, and I have scenarios that took place from relationships. Excuse me. Relationships that I had in between. Not necessarily in between, after my divorce. And these stories are powerful. They help you get insight into what really goes on in these relationships. Not only just random relationships, but my previous relationships. And it also help you understand what to tolerate, what not to tolerate, what you can do, how you can think, what to feel when going through certain situations as you go on this journey we call life. Furthermore, I am out of time. Thank you all for support. Remember, share, like, subscribe, or whatever the case may be. Hit YouTube. Check out my YouTube. Check out my Instagram. Check out my TikTok. We're going to try to build up this algorithm where thousands of people be able to flood in and enjoy. Also, one more thing. I have a Get to Know Crypto book that's coming out very soon. But I also have Get to Know Crypto web-based services, meaning that you will be able to learn, get to know crypto online in lectures, and you will take notes and you will learn everything you need to know about cryptocurrency, how you can protect your money as they get ready to change everything over from the US dollar to cryptocurrency. You will be able to do it beforehand, before the value shoots up, and then you're only getting pennies on the dollar compared to your dollars on the penny. Come on now. All right. I'm out of time. I love you all. I will see y'all later. Peace.